I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I think I'm just going insane. I don't know what happened to me. I think maybe just sitting here on this couch for months on end, trolling away on the internet, looking at all those YouTube videos about politics, looking at each side, listening to how everybody has to be biased. Nobody's being objective about it. And you look at the comments in these videos, they're just so stupid. Nobody has a good reason to support their candidate. Nobody has a good reason not to support the other candidate. It's just all bad. And I love it. I love every fucking second of it. I'm obsessed with it. I can't stop thinking about it. This is what I do all day. My life is the election now. And it's because I'm 21 now. It's because this is the first presidential election I get to vote in. And I really do care about this one. I want my vote to count. And I live in Florida, so my vote will count, because Florida is one of those states that really can go either way. I mean, Obama won by like 70,000 votes in Florida in 2012. Out of like 8.5 million votes cast. Like, it's insane. That's like a margin of 1%. So, now is my chance. Now is my chance to have my political voice heard. But what is my political voice? You don't even know. Because I've never made a video about politics on this channel. But this time, I am making a video about politics. And probably nobody's gonna like it. Because I'm a stupid liberal. I really am. I'm a left fucking wing Democrat, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I'm pro-abortion, I'm pro-gay marriage, pro-LGBT. I'm not too fond of political correctness. But, like, besides that, I really am. I really am liberal. I really am a Democrat. I always have been, you know. Maybe because I looked up to my dad and he was a Democrat. Even when as a little kid, I couldn't stand George Bush. You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, we come to this election, and fuck, 2013, people were saying, oh, Hillary Clinton is gonna win. She's gonna be president. Just forget about it. That was all the media would tell us, was it's Hillary Clinton, all the way. And I couldn't stand that, because I happen to think that I should live in a democracy. Not a mediocracy. A mediocracy. But that's the whole thing right there. That's just the cut of it. I wanted somebody that wasn't Hillary Clinton, but was a Democrat. And in that I found Bernie Sanders. And as the crazy left-wing guy I am, I love Bernie Sanders. I got a Bernie sticker on my car. I was feeling the burn. I was a Bernie bro. Bernie or bust. I always had this sneaking suspicion in my heart that he stood no chance, because not just because he was going against the freaking Clinton machine and the Clinton Foundation, and Clinton having hundreds and hundreds of superdelegates already on her name before he even announced his candidacy, and the fact that she hired the DNC chairman to freaking rig the election for her anyways, and the fact that they came very, very close to like 50% each in several states, and Hillary took all of those. Anyhow, I knew he had no chance of winning anyhow. He's too nice. He's too honest. He stands on principle, and, you know, a guy who's that smart and that nice of a guy, he just has no chance in politics. You have to be a jerk. You have to be empty. You have to be one of the types that's really just out there for your personal gain. That's really just out there for the notoriety and for the fame and for the power and for the money. You really, there's no other. You just don't stand a chance if you're not. You have to go with the way the wind blows and the will of the people. You know, you can't stand on principle. Come on, nobody stands on principle. Don't let anybody ever tell you, oh, he was such a great president because he stood on principle. No. Maybe he did the right thing at a crucial moment. Like, there was a fork, there was a choice to make, and he made the right choice. But besides that, like, it's not because he had any stupid principles that he stood on. But anyhow, Bernie Sanders was out. And I was depressed. It took me till like August before I finally accepted that Bernie had no chance. And that it was gonna be Hillary and Trump. Yeah, August, after Hillary had already made her acceptance speech. I thought, maybe the FBI will get her, maybe. It took me a while to come to terms with the fact that, okay, I picked the wrong horse in the race. Not the wrong horse, but the horse that couldn't win. Well, now it's Trump and Clinton. And a lot of my Democrat buddies, a lot of my crazy left liberal buddies are saying, well, Bernie endorsed Hillary. Yeah, that's because he finally realized that he needs to start doing politically expedient things if he wants to have any future in politics. Maybe he wants to be in Hillary's cabinet. He's not doing that if he doesn't endorse her. So going into the general election, I'm going to vote. I live in Florida. My vote counts. This state could really go red. It could really go blue. It's up to me and it's up to you, people who live in Florida like me. So, I have to make a decision now. Do I go with all the other Democrats and the Bernie supporters and say, well, Bernie endorsed Hillary and Hillary's not the best candidate and she's got this problem and that problem and the third problem and every other problem and she's probably the least favorable candidate in history, but we might as well, bite our tongues and just go with it and fill in the name for Hillary, something. I can't stand that. I'm not rolling over. I'm not gonna go with the next best. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna decide between the two candidates in a different way. I'm gonna be open-minded, right? I preach open-mindedness. That's what I learned over the years of being in college about open-mindedness and the strength of it. And I'm gonna really take a step back and stop looking from what's the Democrat chance and start looking at what's the country's chance. Who are the options? And you have Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump's a businessman. No history in politics. Hillary Clinton is a politician. No history in real life. So, but okay, can a man be president if he hasn't even been in politics before? Well, there's been plenty of war heroes who have been president. I mean, Eisenhower, Jackson, and they were fairly good presidents. George Washington. But okay. Donald Trump doesn't even have military experience. Well, I kind of look at Donald Trump because he's a TV entertainer and a businessman and he's been in the public spotlight for years. A lot of people hate him, a lot of people love him. Before the election even came about, it was like that. And honestly, he's kind of the modern day equivalent of a war hero anyways. It was the same with Jackson. A lot of people loved him, a lot of people hate him. He's actually got a lot of similarities to Andrew Jackson. In how he's controversial, in his controversies. And his, American expansionism and imperialism and stuff like that. But again, what does a businessman know about politics? Well, think of it like this. What if a CEO and a president actually have quite a bit in common? I mean, you have to appease your base. You have to create a name that maybe people hate it, but at least enough people love it that they support you. You can't disappoint the people who are closest to you, your inner circle. You need to pick good people. You need to have the best people in your inner circle, and you need to make sure they're doing their jobs, and you need to make sure you're doing your job so they stay faithful to you. You need to operate budgets. You need to deal with money. You need to deal with foreign countries. Hell, the fucking only difference between business and government is that one of them makes the laws of the land and owns the country and runs the country, and the other one is the government. So, as far as being qualified to be president, I'm still dubious that Donald Trump is necessarily all that qualified. But Hillary's got the experience, and what kind of experience is it anyhow? Then we get to character. That's the issue everybody seems to care about. That's all I ever read about in comments. That's all I ever see on the news. That's all I ever see in YouTube videos is character. Do you really want this kind of person? Think about the future of America. What impression do you want to leave on the kids? Do you want a guy who's saying this? Do you want a lady who's doing this? Do you want a guy who's doing this? Do you want a lady who's saying this? I don't fucking care about character. It's it's something to consider. Like, if you really couldn't choose and you had no other option but character, then I might consider character, but character is like the last thing on my freaking list. Like, it's like I really don't care about character. You can assume if you want to be the leader of the free world, if you want as much power as the most powerful person in the world, you can already assume that person's just an asshole, just a douchebag, unless they're Bernie Sanders. I was so heartbroken when we lost Bernie Sanders. Why? But anyhow, so character's negligible. It really is. Because unless there's like a smoking gun, unless somebody can actually show me a video of Donald Trump saying, "Oh man, I just don't like niggers," like I just haven't found that video. I'm not convinced that he's a racist. I'm not convinced that he's a xenophobe. I'm really not. You haven't convinced me. It's all opinion based. It's all under your stupid politically correct standards that says that he is. Oh, and he's corrupt. You shouldn't even be able to say the word corrupt if Hillary is your candidate. So I don't even care. It's a fucking toss up. It's a tie. Character, they both get 0 out of 100. Okay, next category. What are we actually going to use to determine who you want to vote for? It's got to come down to a little known thing. You know, it used to be important in presidential elections, but now nobody gives a shit about it anymore. Policy. What do they actually stand for? What do they actually say that they want to do? Now, whether they say they want to do it or they will actually do it, that's a whole nother issue. I happen to think that Trump is the kind who's kind of like a big egotist, and he likes having the crowd on his side, and he needs that crowd of people cheering for him. So if a crowd of people want him to do something, he's going to do it, not because he's going to be a good guy and follow through on his promises, but because he wants to satisfy the crowd so that he in turn can be satisfied. Whereas Hillary, if a whole crowd wants her to do something, she's gonna fucking do what she wants to do anyways. I mean, come on. So let's look at actual policy. And take it with that grain of salt that Trump's probably more likely to actually do the things that he says he's gonna do than Hillary. Not because Trump's a good guy, not because that's a good thing about Trump. That's probably even a bad thing about Trump. The fact that he's gonna do the things he says he's gonna do. But looking at these policies, like I went through one by one on these policies. I found them on Google. You can find them too. You just Google search one of the candidates' names, and there's a little thing on the side that like has issues, and you can pull it up. It's a whole page with issues, and you can compare the two of them on various issues. It's pretty good, pretty useful tool, and I've actually found it very fair in the positions to be, you know, just good representations of what I've heard. When I can actually hear their positions, because God forbid I watched those debates and I couldn't find any positions in them. I could only find character assassination of each other. Immigration. Well, of course he talks about building the wall, deporting the illegals, and things like that. He does want to welcome people in, but with rigorous vetting. And you got Hillary Clinton, wants to provide a path to citizenship, doesn't want to break up these families. That basically means if you come to this country and you have a kid, the kid's a U.S. citizen, and you can't separate the family and send the parents back just because they're illegal. It's a whole freaking constitutional crisis. So it goes back to the 14th Amendment. She wants these illegals staying in our country, freaking taking advantage of our welfare, not paying taxes, taking American jobs. I mean, I'm sorry if I sound like a stupid conservative. I swear I'm not. I'm a liberal. I really am. But when it comes to immigration, I'm with Donald Trump. The same thing with the Syrian refugee crisis, which deserves a whole video, but I'll just get it out quickly here. If you are in a state of war and you're a grown man, you should be fighting in the war. Like, unless you're disabled or maybe you're too old, like, you're not a refugee. It actually says that in the United Nations Charter. Like, the definition of a refugee is a woman or child or elderly or anybody disabled who cannot fight. If you are a well-bodied man, you should be in the war. And guess what? Most of those freaking refugees are middle-aged men who aren't even from Syria. They're like from Afghanistan, and they come in saying that they're from Syria. And by the way, you're supposed to go to the closest country to you that is not at war, which is like Turkey. You know, the United States, we're on the other side of the planet. We shouldn't take in a single one of them. We really shouldn't, especially not when there's people in our own country who need our help, who need that that welfare state, who are already here, who are American citizens, who don't have to be, who don't have to become adapted to our way of life, who actually speak the language, who could actually contribute to society, that we can help out right here. So we shouldn't help anybody over there, but if we do, we can offer them aid, we can set up refugee camps and things like that in those countries, in those other countries, which Donald Trump has said he wants to do. I mean, and the stuff I agree with Clinton on is like the traditional liberal stuff, like gay rights, I agree with Clinton. Abortion, I agree with Clinton. Civil liberties, I agree with Clinton. Things like that, you know. The one thing I really don't like about Trump is that he does want security over privacy, which I don't stand for because I'm like a true libertarian. Like I really don't think that, and yet I'm gonna vote for Trump. Like, I'm looking at these policies. Guns, I agree with them. Foreign policy, I agree with him. You gotta be fucking tough. What, we expect Russia to just bend down and lick our boots? You know that's not gonna work, Hillary. You know it's not. You have to lead with fucking strength. America is the sole superpower. I happen to think it's the greatest nation on earth. No, a lot of you, and that's not saying that the other nations are shitty. They're all great. Every country's great, but our country's the greatest. And if you want to maintain that, like Hillary says she wants to maintain it, she doesn't give a shit. She's a globalist, and I'm not so fond of this freaking globalism. I think America should have some say. I don't think that we should have policies that advantage other countries and disadvantage the United States. That's all there is to it. Now, Donald Trump is a businessman, and he has made great deals in his life. Yeah, well, you've gone bankrupt 4 times. Oh, but that was his company that went bankrupt, not him. No, fuck. Damn it, I've already walked into the noise, and I really try to stay out of the white noise. I really am. But, economy. I kind of like his idea for the economy. I kind of like his idea. What you do is it's the conservative approach. He really is economically a conservative, and I think even I might be economically a conservative. I personally, for example, don't mind paying 40%, 50%. I don't mind paying crazy taxes, crazy high taxes, if it means that I can go to the doctor for free, if it means that that I can go to college for free, anything like that. I kind of don't mind paying high taxes if my social services are really nice. But in America, it just can't happen, and it's not gonna happen for a little while. And the way people are in America, and the way we are so capitalist and stuff, it just doesn't work that way. The Donald Trump side is just the conservative side as far as the economy goes. You lower taxes, you cut loopholes. You cut deductions, you make it so the bigger businesses are stimulated to make more money, and then they're paying more taxes. So it's basically kind of just like the general conservative, like, I guess, Reaganistic approach. Not necessarily trickle down, but kind of like trickle down. But yeah, everybody pays less taxes and it stimulates the economy. If you don't believe that less taxes stimulates the economy, just do research on it. I'm not an economist, but I happen to like what Trump's saying. What Trump's saying here. When it comes to crime, he wants tougher crime. He wants more police. He wants better trained police. He wants armed police in every instance, and I like that. I like that a lot. I'm sorry, you can't budge an inch. You really can't. America is crazy with crime. For a first world nation, it's beyond. It's just beyond approach. You can't appease these people who want to do away with cops. No, cops are exactly what we need. When it comes to energy, he wants to go back to coal, to manufacturing. Clean coal, he says all the time. I don't know what the difference is there. He wants to go into oil, and natural gas, and shale. He wants to offshore drill. He really wants to make America great again in a way that's kind of like it's kind of like industrial age America. Like he says that we're gonna start building things again. We're gonna start making things again. he's actually laying out some pretty concrete things. And I find myself, when I look at each of those policies, I like Trump's side more than I like Hillary's side. And that's it. He wants to preserve Medicare. He wants to help out the veterans. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. I've been watching a lot of Fox News, and I watch his speeches, and when I watch it, I just have trouble finding things that I really disagree with. Like when I watch it, I just go through and I can't really find a lot that I'm like, oh, ooh, I don't really like that. There's just not a lot of that. I like listening to him talk at a base level, and then on top of that, I just like a lot of the things he says, and I have trouble disagreeing with a lot of it. Hillary, it's not that I necessarily disagree with a lot of the things she says, it's just when I hear her talk, I hate it. I can't stand listening to her talk, but even past that, I just don't believe a single word she says. She's just not credible in the slightest. Why do I even care? Like I don't even care to listen to her at this point. It's just useless. I don't know. I guess I'm nuts. I guess I'm nuts for being a crazy, stupid Democrat liberal. Big time Bernie bro. I mean, Bernie or bust. I couldn't have Bernie, so I'm going for bust. I'm going for broke. I guess it comes down to between a known evil and like an unknown. You know what I mean? Like people, do you go for the security of a vote for Hillary in that you don't like her and you know she's evil, but at least you know that? Whereas Donald Trump, you just don't know. It could be anything. It could be the end of the world. It could be the greatest president of all time. You have no idea. I'm a risk taker. I love the unknown. Rather than something that I know is bad, I will take the gamble. I will take the gamble. And we're gonna win. We have a shot. We're down in the polls a little bit. If you look at the polls and you add up the Electoral College, we're a little bit short. Sure. I happen to think that we got a shot, that we have a chance. We're gonna go to Washington and we're going to drain the swamp. It's also great. And whenever it's over, I'm gonna have to move on with my life. I'm gonna have to clean all this ugly looking trash on the ground that I strategically keep out of view of the camera. I'm so ready for the hate. I'm so ready for these YouTube comments. I hope they're good. They might be nothing. Nobody might ever watch this video. Who knows? We'll see. Love you guys. Slap a like on this video. We're gonna make America great again. Because really, do you really think that all these candidates are such nice guys, that one of them is such a nice guy? I mean, look at freaking George W. Bush. Look at his presidency. You look at that presidency, and it might as well have been Nixon who was the president at the time. And yet he was portrayed as the lovable oaf. Because that's what he was. Ugh, damn it. When are you leaving?
I was gonna make food, but...
Damn it. Can you give me a little bit of time?
Sure.
Like 3:30. Like 20 minutes.
I just need to grab something because I'm hungry. Like, just something. I need to take it real quick.
I'm making a video to put on the internet where anybody in the world could see it, and yet I completely deflate when I even see another real person in the room while I'm making it. Like, I just can't do it then.
You just stage fright?
I have to talk to my little buddy, the camera.
Yeah. Alright, well, let you get to that.
Alright. I have to start from scratch because I don't know where I was. Keep this take though.